the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG. Doggy.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morris, or Morris, aka Russ. And with me on this fine sunny day is
PJ Coffee from the Southampton Guild Roleplayers and also Homebrew and Hacking TTRPG Design. Joining us also, we have looking exceptionally glamorous, possibly even a little sun-kissed, at least with respect to the hair. It's the one. It is the only.
It's me, Jessica from EM Publishing. I do on this camera look a little bit like I have a tan. I in reality don't, because I do not tan. So I think the lighting is just doing me favors today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The parrot.
fair enough.
Yeah, I recently spent 2 weeks in the Caribbean, did not come back with a tan, so it's not my thing.
How have your weeks been? I played some Pendragon this week, which was exciting.
Oh,
See, when did you do that, Russ?
Place. Yeah, I played it down at your game club in town.
Yeah.
Game run by Tim. I had great fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear he didn't manage to kill your character off, so I said just try
It's a game
harder.
I've wanted to play for years and years and years.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really happy I'm managing to get to play it now.
nice.
Discover what all the fuss is all about.
Worth the fuss, worth the hype.
I'm so far. I mean, I'm just kind of getting the hang of it at the moment.
Okay, fair.
So we'll see. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't want to go into a review of Pendragon because I don't know the game very well at all. I played one session, didn't really know what I was doing, so it would not be a fair review in the slightest.
Yeah.
But we did have, like, the character sheet did have sort of ability scores, which look a bit like D&D scores.
Mm-hmm.
Then a bunch of skills, which are kind of like singing and chivalry, and there's some combat ones as well, like swords and horsemanship and stuff. And then a whole bunch of traits, which I'd heard about before. So the traits are the things that there's about 10-ish. I can't remember how many are. So basically 10 traits, and each of them is basically on a 1 to 20 sliding scale, and they've got opposites. So I can't remember what they are exactly, but say one might be brave and cowardly. That's not two of them, but they're kind of opposites of each other. So you might be sort of like brave 15, cowardly 5, or, so, the two will add up to 20. And so I was trying to get the hang of using those, because apparently you're supposed to use them, from what I hear, partly to decide how your character acts. When presented with the situation, would I react in a brave or cowardly manner? Would I act in a virtuous or selfish manner? Would I act in a, all these different things?
Nice. Nice little role-play encouragements.
Yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I look forward to playing more.
Sounds good. I didn't do much role-playing this week, but I was in a LARP, and it was it was like a 4-part big LARP that I was in. So it was the last time I was playing that character. And at the beginning of the session, it was well known that some characters may die because of what we were doing, but nobody did. Everybody lived because we're so good. But I feel sad I'm not playing that character anymore, because I had cool costume for it, because I bought a leather like LARP armor chest piece I got to wear and stuff, and I had like these LARP daggers like on a holster on my thigh, and she was just quite cool, like a warrior woman. And yeah, I'm gonna miss having an excuse to wear that costume. But yeah. And I played a lot of Baldur's Gate.
You could just wear it out generally, I suppose, down the shops.
Well, in this weather, it's quite warm, because wearing leather armor, black leather armor, is quite the time. But yeah.
Is it soft? Is it the soft pliable stuff, or is it more rigid?
No, it's real leather, so it's quite rigid at the moment because I haven't worn it much. But the more you wear it, the more it will. Like, when you buy new leather boots or something, the first time you wear them, it's a bit like, oh. But yeah, it was a bit rough. But that was my investment piece, because I've been laughing a lot, and I'm slowly building up a wardrobe of lots of different pieces, as you do over the years. But yes, and somebody said that they've learned their 2 out of shape to play in a LARP. This was not a buffer combat LARP, so you did not need to be any level of fitness. It was more like a parlor sort of talky style LARP opposed to a running around hitting each other LARP. I've not done a running around hitting each other LARP, but that does sound fun. And I do have LARP safe daggers and armor now, so maybe that'll be in my future.
Maybe.
Well, I'd
Okay.
certainly be happy to lend you some of my large collection of scarves and stock jewelry.
I'll probably best not lend you any of my swords.
Yeah, yours are not LARP safe.
No.
I'll send the sword's larger than she is. That's in fact.
Yeah.
I've
So
gone for
before
daggers.
we start, just a reminder to everybody that we are streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can join us every week at 2 p.m. UK time or 9 a.m. Eastern time. Join in the chat, ask us questions, gaze upon our lovely faces. Lovely in inverted commas faces.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. How long have we been doing this now? I mean, we've been doing the
50
podcast
years.
for about 7 years, but how long have we been doing the live streams? A couple
Since
of months. now, I
2020,
think.
2025.
Yeah,
So January
we only started this year.
2025.
Did we start in January?
We did.
Yeah.
That long?
New year.
Wow.
New thing.
Wow. I had no idea. Okay. Anyway. Shall we get on with some news?
Yes, let's talk about the tabletop RPG news, because that is why the people have come here. This is why we have summoned them.
Okay. Well, let us do it. Let's start
All right.
with Eberron, Forge of the Artificer.
We did
Sounds
talk-
familiar.
Yeah,
We did talk about this last week.
We did.
Oh, okay.
What we didn't talk about was this alternate cover that
Mhm.
has since been released. So this isn't the cover that we saw last week.
It
This
is not. It is a different one.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the one that will be exclusive to hobby stores.
Mhm.
Going on sale August 19th. Still retail price of $29.99.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's different. They've gone for a totally different style with the alternate covers now. Do you remember they used to be from
Used to be quite pretty.
Hydro 74 or something like that? And they were quite abstract, not
Tolkien-esque.
abstract, not.
In some respects.
They were kind of like angular and
Graphic and modern, yeah.
Right. Sorry, I was thinking of the 2024 covers, which were
the older ones,
Yeah, like had a certain, I want to say, Art Deco flair to them, with lots of angles and stuff. What we're looking at here, for those playing along at home, is there's somebody at the back who's wearing a leather apron. We presume them to be an artificer, and in front of them, being, I guess, hauled up out of a forge with lights coming out of their face, is a regular android, which, due to the fact that I've been updated on what they're doing with Eberron, I know to be a Warforged rather than anything more interesting. Yeah, they've really changed the style for the Warforged, so they don't look as cool and Warforged anymore. Now they just look like generic sci-fi androids. If you imagine like 70s sci-fi android, that's what the new Warforged look like, which is a shame because the old Warforged looks really good, very good. Like really
that looks very sci-fi rather than steampunk to me.
Yes.
There's not a gear in sight.
That's true. The art style,
brass?
as you mentioned, the 70s though, the art style does look very 70s, 80s sci-fi in the art style to me. Do you know what I mean? It looks like a movie poster from film of that time.
I can see that, yeah.
You know what? It's even giving me a bit of Metropolis, like the...
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? What was it, 1920s, I want to say? So proper old school film. So maybe that's the idea.
Maybe.
Into a bit of Rossum's Universal Robots.
Yeah. Right. Also,
I mean, are we sticking with the covers? Because that is something that I'm pretty interested in talking about right now.
Well, I was kind of going through the play order list because that's the order I've got the slides in.
Okay, fair enough then. Then we won't talk about
Otherwise, I get very confused and I start trying to flick around in this tiny little thumbnail poster stamp, trying to work out which one is which, and I put up the wrong slide and I get completely lost. And
no worries. Then we won't talk about
the interface for this isn't amazing.
We won't talk about the Eberron cover with the Artificer, where they have about 90 different sets of pincers behind them, because that's a hell of an artistic decision. and has said some, of course, some unkind people to suggest that perhaps it's AI because it looks like an AI artifact to do that sort of thing. But I'm sure Wizards of the Coast would do no such thing because that would be a terrible idea.
I don't imagine at the moment they would. That seems
No.
I imagine they're being very, very careful.
Someone drew a lot of grips. I'm like, that is a lot of grips. That is more grips than anyone could possibly need. Sorry, they're all the same size. It's very strange. Yeah. What were you talking about then?
All right. Well, the next thing, we've got some D&D related stuff. We have got Mr. Potato Head, which we've mentioned before, but Mr. Potato Head now has, this is the D&D Mr. Potato Head. It was first released at Gamma Expo earlier this year, but this is coming out. It's got a release date of October 2025.
So Mr. Potato Head Beholder.
Yes.
Potato Head with many books.
Yes, I think we have covered this before.
We mentioned it. We just didn't have any close-up pictures, and we didn't have a release date. So that's
I thought we did have a picture because, well, not the whole product in the box.
So we've got some of these. So I've got a few different ones of these. So this is Mr. Potato Head with a bowler hat and casting some kind of fireball or something.
So they're keeping the eye stalks, which are coming outside, and making it the proper beholder, keeping those brown to match the potato, which I think is an excellent stylistic decision. And I see. Look, they're using the pupil of the eye as a place to lock in, where you can have like the magic effects shooting out of the eyes. Yeah.
You've got a lightning bolt coming out of one and a fire bolt or something coming out of the other.
Some sort of blast.
We've got another configuration here.
Yeah, very important. That's what beholders needed, more gender. So we've got a properly gendered one with it's a shame you shouldn't have the little skirt, but got the big
I love the single glasses, the single glass.
No, the monocle.
It's not a monocle. It's just a pair of glasses that only has one.
Okay.
By definition, a monocle?
Well, a monocle doesn't have things that go around your head, though, does it? It doesn't have arms.
It could.
Not always.
It could, but it wouldn't be a monocle then. It would be what this is. It would be a single glasses. A single
we'll have
spectacle.
to agree to disagree on that.
Oh, the rest, you're just making a spectacle of yourself.
We've got another one with the moustache.
Script writer. Oh, yes. And it's got...
Yeah.
I find the human teeth actually more disturbing than the spiky ones. Yeah, the square humanesque teeth do make it look more sinister than... Okay, yes. Thank you, Francita Soto, for the petition to have more respite and have a different configuration of it for every stream.
Wow.
Yeah,
that sounds like a lot of responsibility.
I think what we should do instead is Morris should get dressed up as a different potato head for every stream.
Yeah, that's a good idea. One thing, I don't have a lot to say about the Beholder Potato Head, in honesty, but I do find it interesting that Hasbro is combining the D&D brand with other Hasbro licensed products that they have. So I'm wondering, are there things that people would like to see other than a D&D Potato Head? Are there other Hasbro things? What other mashups do we need?
What else does Hasbro do? Transformers.
Yeah, I think they have that license.
Transformers.
Yeah. Or My Little Ponies that are like themed, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this the beginning of something? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Let's have a look. See what Hasbro.
Is Hasbro Barbie, or is that the other one?
No, it's Mattel. It's very different.
That's their arch rivals. Okay.
They do have Beyblades, and Cabbage Patch Kids, which I'm very excited about.
Cabbage Patch Kids as different D&D classes.
Spoon BK in the chat says they made Transformers dice.
Yeah.
There we go.
A lot of G.I. Joe here. That's very exciting. Jungle Book, Jurassic Park, Mask. Oh.
So there's a lot of scope there.
My Little Pony. There we go.
Like I said, My Little Pony and different character classes as tattoos on the My Little Pony thing.
Although obviously we are aware of Tales of Equestria, the role-playing game, which is already in existence.
Yeah, the My Little Pony game.
we're waiting for that 5e conversion to hit, so that would be excellent.
Yeah, my little centaur.
Yeah, my little centaur. Excellent. Sounds fun.
Megatron as Vecna.
I mean, like,
Sure.
if only more people knew who Megatron was. It's like everyone knows who Optimus
Well,
Prime
Vecna is
but
Megatron. Thing is, who would win in a fight between Vecna and Megatron?
Depends where
I think-
Megatron gets the shot off, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Does
he's got a big old
Megatron-
gun.
Because Megatron doesn't have an organic mind, can Vecna play with them in the same way?
I don't know.
Because they're not an organic being, can Vecna influence them in the same way?
I'm sure a fireball was still a fireball.
I mean, a fireball is a fireball at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're correct. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Maybe we'll see more crossovers in the Hasbro-owned licenses.
Yeah.
We have had Cameron just got off cruise today in Southampton and was going to make a joke about watching the show live, but they're getting the train. We actually record in Southampton, so you could have watched live. There's space on that sofa back there, so there you go. Next time.
Yeah.
Or you could have come and looked after my dogs while I record.
Yeah. Next time, let us know in
With
advance.
the dog
We'll arrange
wrangler.
something. If you're in Southampton.
As long as you don't mind a bit of light savaging, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What else have we got in the news if we're done
Okay.
talking about beholders?
We have got these things: Xanathar's treasure packs. So these are sort of dice packs, but they've also got other bits and pieces with them as well. They're $19.99 for each pack,
Okay.
and they're hitting retail this month, so like really, really soon.
Okay.
So as you can see here, there's like a bunch of, on this one, there's a bunch of blue dice. There's a couple of large coins, gold coins, and a little dice bag. So there's a few different ones.
Sorry, I've just worked out what. Oh, crikey. Yeah. So as Russ says, there's some gold coins. There's also like a set of dice. There's a D6 and it's got like a strange gold symbol. I was looking at thinking, why is there a sandworm
It looks like a telescope to
on
me.
the dice?
What is it?
It's an eye stalk, Russ.
It's one of Xanathar's eye stalks, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It took me a minute as
it's-
well.
Yeah. I'm like, it looks. Does it not look like a sandworm?
It looks like a
Yeah,
telescope. to me.
it does a bit. Yes.
You've got some funny looking telescopes for us. I'm gonna say that.
I have a
Or
telescope.
possibly an empty sleeve, but yeah. It's all done in gold. Yeah. So what do you get then? Oh,
There's some
crikey.
more of the stuff. So here's some of the different dice sets you can get.
Right.
And this is themed legendary one. Have you seen the one?
That
on the right
one
there?
does. That one I do like. So they're clear dice with little Xanathar inside. And I do love that style of dice with a little clear dice with a thing in it.
Yeah, I mean, I find those hard to read. I think though. I don't like busy dice.
Yeah, but they go in your dice collection, and you use clearer ones, but you have these. You've got to get in the dice goblin mindset.
Yeah,
I have
but
an entire bag
you never
that.
see them.
Huh?
You'd never see them.
That's not true.
You admire your dice.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Don't say that in a weird way, like it's weird. I have a D20 shaped storage bag where I keep all my dice in, and I have them there. And it's a little like D20 handbag, so it goes on my shoulder, so I can bring it around everywhere with me.
I don't do that.
Huh.
Well, fool on you.
Yes. Interesting.
So these are dice I would have in my collection. I might not use them all the time, but they would be there and I would have them. And I could show my shiny math rocks to other people today and be like, look, I have these. And everyone would go, ooh. Because that's what dice goblins do. Do you guys not collect dice then? This is...
I'm not in the sense of collect. I make sure I have enough for various situations. I don't collect them because I like those dice. I want those ones.
Oh, really? You don't? Oh, I do that.
I have like a tea box full of dice. And if you know what a tea box is, then you know that's fairly significant collection. Okay, Russ has got himself looks like a game box. Yeah.
Quite a bunch of dice. It's just a functional collection of dice. It's
they're all split up into different.
Well, they were, and then the dogs
sections.
knocked it all over the floor, ate half of them, and now they're
all right. We're getting our dice. Wait.
So,
okay.
I'll just get her dice as well. Oh dear, we're having a dice off.
Yeah, fine. So I'm like Donkey Kong.
Oh, you're going as well? Look, you can't just leave me here on my own.
Yeah, I can. All you have to do, Russ, is just like blabber as you know.
All right, we start something now. Let's go.
Right,
I've got my
Okay.
dice. So if you're listening on the podcast, sorry, but so this is my D20 dice storage handbag that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a very impressive box you have there.
It
I
is,
mean-
and inside it has all the different sections with all the dice in.
Mm-hmm.
I also have my dice thrones, which are little chairs that have a
What?
slot for each of my D20, so I can line them up
But why? Why?
for fun.
But why?
Because they're fun.
What do you do with them?
Well, I line them up, and then I put the dice I'm using for the session in the throne, so they're all lined up and comfortable.
Does that help?
No.
Hopefully. I don't know. I haven't done the maths, but I think so. I feel good
Okay.
about myself. I feel like an ethical dice owner. And I have these dice, which I haven't used yet, which have wireless charging and do cool stuff. The Icewind dice series, which I haven't opened yet. So,
Good
Yeah, I've
stuff.
got some LED dice over there which charge up and
Yes.
you roll them, they flash and do
that's what
funny
those
things.
ones are.
And
Although what I've got
Peter here
here-
has a very blurry set of dice. There we go.
Yeah, very blue set of dice. I don't know, it's coming across. So you got like, there's a big old pile at the front, and then I've got my various GMing bits and bobs in there, along with like bits of towel and so forth, for wiping stuff down. And of course, the things like the obligatory very small playing cards,
Yes.
as well as counters and so forth, because I play Savage Worlds as well.
You two are basically far more organised than I am.
Well, I do run
Yes.
games, like often.
Well, as said in the chat,
at conventions.
Jess and Morris are very different kinds of nerds, which is true.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on with the news.
Okay, no longer talking about collectible dice. Fair enough.
We're going to talk about
Yeah.
Pathfinder and War.
Do you not want to talk about tariffs first? Because that was next on
We'll
your
do that
list.
after this. Okay, so let's
Okay.
put this slide up now. So,
The list.
Pathfinder Battlecry. So this is a book which is going to hit PDF, I think, in July, and then presumably print soon afterwards. And this is all about, this is Pathfinder 2nd edition book, all about war. So in this book, we have got a couple of new classes. And those new classes are, hang on a second, the Commander and the Guardian, as you can see there. So the Commander, I'm going to guess, is kind of like a Warlord / Marshal type, I guess. I don't know entirely whether that's true or not.
Likely.
And then the Guardian just looks like a tank. The Guardian's a tank, I think. A proper
The commander
tank.
looks like a tank. Look at those traps.
True.
There is a distinct lack of neck. Why are they both blue?
That's
guessing
the
they're a
new
species.
ancestry. The is it Jotunborn or something like that?
Right.
Jotunborn,
the giants. Yeah.
Jotunborn.
They-
Yeah, we got
They do look.
a,
Oh, sorry.
we got a picture of one of them here. This is a piece of art from the book, but the Jotunborn is like
Nice
a blue
artwork.
giant rated species. Which wheels? That one's wielding some kind of big. It's not even a hammer. What is that?
Well, it looks like it might be a mace or a hammer. It's the
With
same on the
flail
front cover.
attachments.
Yeah, why not? I mean, just in case you miss. It looks like, sure. Well, it's a big old. It's an extremely large rock on the end of a long pole, and it
with small
has
spiked balls off chains coming off the rock.
Yeah,
as I can make out.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
want that
cool.
flying near me.
No,
well,
that would ruin your day.
You would.
unless you take it like half step back and step forward smartly and stab them, as they're massively off balance. Because no, whatever. I don't care.
But this ancestry is so hench for their body. It does make their head look teeny tiny, like proportionally. If you go back to the previous image, it does look. It's kind of funny. To me.
They are the pinhead
Anyway.
ancestry. You are correct. Yes.
Yes.
Look at
Anyway.
it, like big hulking body, teeny pinhead, squish, squish, squish.
Yeah.
It's like
so
like like a grape on orange. It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this book, so we got the two classes, the commander and the guardian. We've got a bunch of archetypes. They say they allow you to raise a battalion of undead soldiers or wield a personal siege weapon. We've got the Jotun-born ancestry, which are these guys, these big blue guys. An armory of magic weapons and rules for running combat alongside troops that you command to fill out your army's ranks.
That's quite cool. I like rules for big war scenes because I think sometimes when you've got a party of people, it's hard to do like a Helm's Deep style battle, you know, and make it interesting.
I don't think this is mass combat rules.
No, but it's like for having an army, like what happens with that. So if you're in a battle,
I think it's kind of about your bit of the battle, isn't it? Kind of.
Well, yeah,
it's happening around you. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure.
It's one of those unanswered questions in D&D.
Also, which is fun. We got 2 alternate covers. We've got a sketch cover.
Oh, I love a sketch cover.
I like those sketch covers that Pathfinder's doing. I really like them a lot.
Should we do sketch covers?
I think we should. I think they're very cool. And then we got sort of leather-bound, embossed, sort of standard special edition cover that you see many people make.
Charlie. Yes. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed that because what they're trying to evoke with the way that the character on the front is holding it, who's one of these like Jotunborn pinheads.
Sorry.
I try and be nicer about them, but once you point it out, I'm like, no,
carry
I
on.
can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to evoke is sort of like things like raising the flag at Iwo Jima, you know, with like a bunch of Marines trying to raise up a flag. But he's not raising up a flag, he's raising up quite frankly, an infeasibly large hammer. Because it's just, you're not going to be able to use it, even if you are that size. And it's just like, where are flags in these fantasy battles? Because they are very important.
Just play the game says, am I the only one who doesn't like uncoloured sketch covers? Yes, you are the only one in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the entire world loves them. And I know I've done a survey of everyone in the world apart from you specifically.
And now we know.
Yeah.
And now we know. That's the answer to that question. I really like them. I do really like the sketch covers. I actually prefer that to the actual cover.
Deluxe edition.
It's got a vibe to it. I guess if you are a big fan of, say, OSR and Pathfinder, which blows my mind, but why the hell not? Then you've got that whole black and white thing going on.
I guess so, yeah.
It
just feels a little different, that's all. I like because you see a lot of, including our stuff, you see a lot of this sort of special edition covers, which are leather bound with sort of like embossed titles on them, and they're fairly common.
Market quality, why not?
But these are just different. I like them.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, and it seems like pretty easy to do because it's the same art, so it's just the art at a different stage of development. So you just ask the artist for their sketch and for the final piece. And you've got 2 covers there.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think it looks cool as well. And I think this looks good if you're playing a bit of Pathfinder and you want those specific type of rules because you're at that point in your story. Makes sense.
Yeah. Right, let's talk about tariffs very, very quickly.
Tariff time.
So, in the last week, the tariffs from China were reduced from 145% down to a much more manageable 30%. It's still not great; it's still 30%, but it's not 145%.
But by comparison.
By comparison, everything's relative. You anchor it at 145, and then you take it down to 30, which is still higher than it was before, but now it seems low.
Smart business.
But before it was like maybe 5% or whatever, and then they waxed it, and then anything above that seems like. But no, 30% is still a wildly high tariff.
But
yes.
Because we're now conditioned to think in terms of 145, it feels low.
Yeah.
Because we were braced for 145, 30% feels like a manageable thing, which is good because we are manufacturing things that are in the final stages and getting ready to ship. So
this is for 90 days only.
Okay.
So who knows what will happen after those 90 days, or whether it will last those 90 days and it will change again tomorrow. Who knows? But
Not me.
in theory, it's for 90 days. It's a 90 days pause, basically. They call it a pause, but it's still a tariff, so the reduction, not a pause. You know, we immediately sort of like got together about our stuff and had a quick conversation. Right, does that mean, shall we risk it, take, throw our stuff over to America now, pay the 30% in the assumption that it will still be 30% when it reaches there, because it'll take 3 weeks to get there by boat.
At least.
Within that 90-day window, because we don't know whether it will go up again or down again at the end of that. So do we do that? And I imagine every publisher out there is having the exact same conversation. Are they all thinking, right, should we quickly shove our stuff on the boat, get it over there while it's 30%?
The issue with that is because everyone's going to quickly shove their stuff on the boat. The cost of boats, shipping is more expensive because the way global shipping works.
Pile up support and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be great.
Yes. So if you have backed a crowdfunder or pre-ordered something, please be patient with your publisher because they will be trying their very, very best. Yes. But anyway.
Yeah. So, Right.
Anyway, let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about some tariffs, shall we? Not tariffs, but you were talking about tariffs. Let's talk about Goodman Games instead.
Yes. So this is a follow-on from, we talked a lot about this last week. So if people want the full scope, listen to last week's episode.
Basically, after we finished recording last week, well, we finished our time. We finished recording about 4 o'clock-ish. It was sort of 8 or 9 p.m. our time, Friday night. Goodman Games put out an additional statement. It was, when I say statement, it was a long video, like over an hour long video, accompanied by a sort of text summary of what they're going to do. And then a whole bunch of people said, why have you chosen to miss this additional statement off of your podcast? I was like, because I don't have time travel.
So
TARDIS is down the garage at the moment. I don't know. Because obviously they did it after we released the podcast. You know, that's how causality of time works.
I've had people saying to me, "Why aren't these books that were released 3 years after yours? Why don't you have the bits from them included in your book?" I'm like, well, my lack of time machine wasn't a problem.
I experienced the flow of time in a linear fashion. So in fairness, might not be the case for those people that were asking, so maybe they didn't know.
But anyway, let's have a look at this. So I'm going to try something flashy here. I'm going to try sharing a short clip of a video for the first time ever on this podcast, so it might not work. So forgive me if this doesn't work quite right, but let's give this a try. It's over an hour long video. I'm only going to share like 10-15 seconds of it. It's not, don't worry.
Okay.
I'm not going to make you sit here and watch a long video. So let's just see if I can do this, shall we? So okay, so let's get going. So,
and I hate the things that were said. I don't get up and talk about my politics. I have many people in my immediate family who are in the groups that were commented on by the Bloodsaws. I will get into more of that later. I do this because I like publishing games. That's why I publish games. I don't do this to talk about myself or talk about politics. Frankly, I think I need to fill in that space and tell people more about myself. So later in this stream, I will talk about my personal life, my personal history. But I was personally very affected by the comments because many of the people I know and love are in the groups that were heavily affected. So I don't agree with the bigotry. I don't agree with the transphobia. I don't agree with the homophobia. I don't agree with the racism. I don't agree with any of it. And I don't want to be associated with it. And I don't want any money from Goodman Games to ever fund it or be perceived as funding it.
So.
He seems so upset.
Yeah, so it's a big long video, but this is the sort of summary of it. So what they're going to do is the following: any of the Judges Guild I'll do a very quick recap. Judges Guild is the company which Goodman Games is licensing some property of to make an updated 5e. This property is the city-state of the Invincible Overlord. Talked about it at length last week. And back in 2020, the current owner of Goodman Games and made a whole range of very, very, very unpleasant statements on social media covering a whole variety of subjects.
The Judges Guild guy, not Goodman Games guy.
Judges Guild, yes, yeah.
Yeah, just to be really clear.
Yeah, Goodman Games has not said anything like that. No.
It's the Judges Guild guy, Bob Bledsaw 2 Junior, whatever it's called.
Junior,
Yeah. So what's going to happen is, 10% of the Kickstarter goes to Judges Guild. That's the licensing arrangement. But what's going to happen is it's not going to go directly to Judges Guild. It's going to go into an escrow account managed by Goodman Games. And those funds are going to be used to reimburse or refund the backers of Judges Guild's previous failed, unfulfilled City-State of the Invincible Overlord Kickstarter. So Judges Guild's not going to see that money at all. It's going to go straight from Goodman Games to those backers. They are going to make sure that the print run is limited to a number that will ensure that once those backers have been reimbursed, there'll be no further revenue generated. So Judges Guild doesn't make a profit on the project. So it's not like, we've reimbursed them all and now Judges Guild is getting 10% of the rest. They're making sure there isn't any more after that. They're going to stop printing. And finally, if in some way Kickstarter does exceed this threshold, I'm not quite sure how that would happen, but if it did do that, Goodman Games is obviously legally obligated to pay excess royalties to Judges Guild, because that's that's what the licensing agreement says. However, that they will match that excess, whatever it is, with a charity donation, and they will encourage Judges Guild to give that excess to charity, although
they can't control that. Obviously,
they can't compel them to do so. So that is what they're going to do.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. I like it. I still feel, and a lot of people have said this online, I still feel to an extent paying Judges Guild's debts is still paying them.
Yeah, absolutely. I would feel that way if we decided to not fulfill a Kickstarter and we owed people money from it. If someone else said, we'll pay that for you, that's a huge benefit to us financially. Yeah, that's just paying off our debts for us. So that's something we don't have to worry about.
And what if you raise money for a Kickstarter and then you didn't deliver? What would Kickstarter do?
Well, nothing.
That's
well,
what
they wouldn't let you continue to use Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. You can't. Yeah, sorry, but I mean, because Kickstarter does say
Judges Guild currently can't use Kickstarter until it's been made right.
It can use Battlecry. It can use It can use other ones.
Good luck to them. They can use other ones, but Kickstarter's the biggest.
Yeah, I think they're kind of at the point where people wouldn't trust them. I think once you failed very publicly on a large Kickstarter, no matter where you go with the crowdfunders, people are probably not going. You might get a few, but people probably aren't going to back it because you now have that reputation.
Certainly, while you are banned from Kickstarter, you're going to have a hard time on the other platforms.
Yeah.
Whilst you're banned from Kickstarter.
If Goodman Games refunds these people, even if that cleared the ledger with a Kickstarter, and I don't know whether that would or not, whether Kickstarter would then review that as a cleared project or not, the reputational damage is still there. The stigma is still there. You are still someone who failed. Everyone will know what happened. So I don't think there's a scenario where really they get to go back to Kickstarter and go back to how things were before.
I mean, obviously they don't get to go back to how things were before, but it's a step of rehabilitation, which I would argue is unearned. Like, Goodman Games is rehabilitating them. I'm like, why are you doing that?
I agree. It's not their responsibility to do it. It's not their Kickstarter. The reason, I mean, you have to sort of read the watch the entire video because they do go into this, but they do basically say, look, Judges Guild are not legally obligated to refund those people because that's how Kickstarter works.
Yeah.
It is a risk, and you know, so Judges Guild doesn't have, it has an ethical and moral debt, but it doesn't have a legal debt to anybody.
Otherwise,
so
they'd be being sued by now. Absolutely,
Yeah.
So, as Goodman Games sort of say, Judges Guild are not in a position to refund those people because they don't have the money to do so. It's just not going to happen.
They burnt through the 85k. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the backers, though, the 1,000 or so backers, or however many it was, who are out of pocket, they of course
11
will
years
now,
ago.
but they will now be made right. So from their point of view, and from the point of view towards them, you know, it's a good thing.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, it's whether you value them, I guess, you know, being made whole over Judges Guild getting and I'd argue like a 2% rehabilitation. It's like minuscule. I don't think it would actually effectively make any practical difference whatsoever. So I can see the argument for both ways. I really can. I mean, I wouldn't say Goodman Games is wrong or right in doing this. It's a choice. Either choice would have had arguments both ways, I think. I'm
a bit confused by why the decision to do this was, because this reads to me like we're in a situation, we're going to do the best out of it as that we can, and I think that's what this is. But was this a situation you chose to be in, and why? That's the bit I'm missing. You know, because if it was like, look, we have a legal obligation under contract that we have to crowdfund this under license,
doesn't appear to be the case.
But that hasn't been said, so I don't know if that's the case. Because if that was the case, I'd be like, fair enough, they have to do it. They're in this situation, and they're doing the best they can with it. But it feels like there was a choice to do this, and that's the bit I'm like, that's the bit of information I'm missing.
Yeah.
A choice which they have said they find we could either trash the work or do something reprehensible. Like, we'll do something reprehensible. And it's like, I don't think it's actually that dichotomous, right? Because I've read there's a blog by a chap called Wobble Rocket, which I quite enjoyed, which is like, you know, been pretty interesting. Gone into a bit of this, had a look around, obviously worked off the Ian World article and so forth. But also they had a look at the actual city state of the Invincible Overlord, and it's got those tables from way back when. And when I say tables, I mean, what do these random tavern wenches look like? What's their bus size? That sort of thing. So yeah, I know, right? It's like, you're gonna have to strip out a lot of this stuff anyway. Why not do something new or inspired by? Or name it as an influence?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Goodman Games' kind of business model is resurrecting old stuff for the OSR crowd, I guess. But I agree. Why not inspired by City State?
Yeah.
A new original product inspired by it, but not actually it.
Yeah, because it could be very much an homage to it. Because a lot
and
of
they've
these,
done that as well.
Yeah, because I think that's a great thing to do, to be like, look, we're inspired by this. We used to play this ages ago, and we wanna retell this story our way, and that would be great.
We'd love to bring it to our kids, but in a fashion that would be less embarrassing should they actually see what's inside the book.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, go for it.
Yeah. Or even take that view out of it and just saying in our way, in a new way.
Yeah. But there's that whole sort of
Cinderella
officialness sticker stuff, isn't there? Like, something that comes officially from Wizards of the Coast is perceived as having greater value than something that comes from a third party publisher, just because it's got, you know, the logo on the front. And it could be a case of that. They just think, you know, we'll make twice as much money if it's official than if it's not. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm totally guessing there. I'm not speaking for them.
I do find it quite comedy, that sort of like what's homebrew and what's official. Because like I got my latest book. I've like been advertising that in the homebrew channels. And it's like, you know, because people are like saying, "Oh, well, your stuff's homebrew." I'm like, okay, well, here's my 212-page hardback, full colorful illustrated,
Mm.
with the production values to match. Yeah, sure. We'll put it up next to like these people's what do you call it? Like, you know, their actual, what I would say is homebrew, which is fine, right? I'm like making the point, which is that, yeah, sure, my stuff is homebrew, but that word is not really got meaning in this particular case. You know what I mean? It's like, sure.
I think it only matters if you're doing an official, like, I forgot what it's called. What's the D&D or the Pathfinder? Yeah, if you're doing an Adventurers League, then obviously
Society, yeah.
Exactly. If you're doing them, then obviously there's rules about what content you can use, and that's fair enough. But if you're not doing that, why does it matter? It's only if your table agrees to it, because different tables agree different things. Like different tables, some people are like, we're not using silvery barbs. I know it's in the official rules, but we're not using it, you know, because tables can decide to do that. But anyway, we're going on a different tangent away from the Goodman Games thing, I fear.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting one, PJ, and maybe we should pick this up another time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's what Goodman Games is doing.
Yeah.
And I think the link will be on
mixed reactions across the web. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I mean, I tend to agree they should have just not done it. They should have done something else.
I'm sorry he's upset, but I don't know. People are gonna get mad at you when you do bad things, and that's how you know you're doing the bad thing, and maybe you stop it.
I think part of my sort of confusion with it all is, and as we said this last week, they did say at the time, back in 2020, when all of these statements the Judges Guild made came to light, they did say we have only one project still to complete and stuff, and that was the general Jack A compilation. They would do that, and then there were no more Judges Guild products. They would sell no more Judges Guild products on their storefront and channels, and they would do no more business with them. So why now, 5 years later, are they saying actually there was this at the time, we just didn't mention it? I find that a bit confusing.
And some people in the comments have said maybe the motivation is they want to fix this backer situation from the Judges Guild Kickstarter for the backers. Maybe they want them to have this thing and make sure they're not out of pocket. But
why?
And that could be true. But there are lots of kit crowdfunders.
There's lots of failed crowdfunders. They're going to go around doing for all of them now. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't get it.
I mean,
it's not their responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, my wife backed a 3D printer several years ago. That was $100 for a 3D printer. That's never materialized. It's over a decade. So if Goodman Games wants to do some sort of Kickstarter to help refund those people, that would be amazing. I mean, it's very Don Quixote / Robin Hood. Sorry, Jessica, I'm talking over you. Please say.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to be repeating what I said. Like the piece of information I'm still missing from the statement is why was the decision made to do this project? And I think that information may give a bit more insight. And I understand. I think they are doing the best they can now that they're in that situation, like with their statement and what they're planning to do with the funds.
But why did they get into that situation in the first place?
Yeah, that's the bit I'm missing. And maybe there's a reason they can't share that. Maybe there's a legal reason they can't say. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. So, but that's the bit why I'm still a bit confused face about it.
Yeah. I mean, you could just say we are unable to discuss why for legal reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, that would.
I don't think that's
that
it.
would tell me.
I don't think there's a legal, because if you listen to some of the other things they've been saying, like you know, this guy is reprehensible. The things he says is, you know. I
don't think they're bad
evil and open about talking about the situation, and they're not afraid of criticizing or you know, saying how they feel about the Judges Guild and so forth. So I don't think there is a legal impediment to them. It doesn't seem likely.
I don't know. That is what I'm saying.
No,
I haven't been indicated that is the case necessarily, but because that's the thing. That's the only thing I can think of. But if that had, because like I was trying to think. If we were in a situation like this is an RPG company, we had said we weren't going to work with somebody because of those reasons, and then we were compelled to do something for some reason, I would want to make that so clear in the messaging.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think the answer to the question is, unfortunately, not there's a legal impediment to it, the answer to the question is something they're probably not going to say out loud is, yeah, but we decided we wanted to make this product.
Yeah. Why are you being so mean to us? But we wanted to.
And I think that's probably the truth of the matter, is they wanted to do it.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's the question I still have. But yeah, let's move on, because I don't think I'm just going to keep circling around that saying there's still a piece
BK, they bought a license. When does that force you to pay more money to the licensor if you don't use it as a common practice? So you don't buy a license. So the standard practice, and every license is different. So the licensor, you would probably agree to a royalty amount, which is standard, is about 10%. Usually, it looks like in this case it is 10% from what Goodman Games has said. It's usually 10% of revenue. So it'll be 10% off the top of the Kickstarter before anything else. So you will continue to pay royalties on it as long as you sell that product until the license ends. So into the future. That's how a license works. You may pay an advance against royalties. That's also fairly common. Usually it's not a fee, it's an advance, just so that the licensor knows they're going to get a certain amount. So just as an example, they might sort of say, okay, it's 10% royalties, the license is going to go for 5 years, and the advance against royalties is $5,000. So you give them $5,000, that's basically $5,000 royalties in advance. So if you don't earn $5,000 worth of royalties for them, they've still got that $5,000. If you go past the 5,000, then you start paying them more. So that's the usual way.
Licenses also sometimes have a break clause that because you have this license, if you don't produce any content for it in X amount of time, we'll take the license back because you're not using it. Or sometimes some have a minimum amount of money. If they're like, if you don't generate X amount of money from using this license, we're going to take it back from you. And give it to someone who could.
Or it might just be a renewable, 3 years, then renewable every year sort of thing.
Exactly. So there's lots of different things. So it could be the case that they financially invested. I mean, I'm making this up. It could be possible that they financially invested in a license, and if they don't use it, they won't get any return on that advance.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah. So Sony keeps on making Fantastic Four movies, because if they don't, they lose the license.
Yeah, I mean, one example in our industry was back when Fantasy Flight Games, I think it was, got the Star Wars license, and the advance on that, I think, as I recall, was like close to $100,000 or something. It's Star Wars, isn't it?
Golly gosh!
Plus the royalties. But part as you were just saying, Jess, that you have to bring stuff out in a certain amount of time. They had to bring something out within a year. And what they ended up doing is releasing at Gen Con just in time a small card-based product, just to make sure they'd released something.
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight released a small card-based product.
Yeah. Because the actual RPG wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, because I think a year is not a huge amount of time to make a good RPG that you're proud of and ready to share.
It's not.
Anyway, okay, so that's the news on Goodman Games, and the whole video is linked on EM World. So if people want to watch the whole video and have a think about it for themselves, that link is provided.
The link will be in the show notes. You can go and look at that.
Go and have a listen and have a think for yourself on what your thoughts and feelings are.
Okay. Well, that's all the serious negative stuff. Let's go on to some exciting live streams. This is from Critical Role, and they have announced an 8-part Daggerheart mini-series. Daggerheart being their brand new game, which is coming out like in the next week or so now. It's like literally hitting store shelves. I've seen pictures of it at store shelf in stores, but not quite. They haven't hit the street date yet, so they can't sell it. So they've got it there saying you can buy this soon, but you can't have it yet. Daggerheart is Critical Role's what's their production company called?
Darrington Press.
Darrington Press. That's it. That's the word I was struggling for. Darrington Press is Critical Role's production company, and they produced what was the other game they produced? Candela Obscura.
Yes.
Last year. They've announced an 8-part mini-series, live-streamed campaign coming on the main Critical Role channels, featuring Matt Mercer as Game Master, many of the usual crew. This will be going throughout this summer and being a sort of a break before presumably they go back to a sort of full-length D&D campaign later this year. And they haven't actually announced that yet, as far as I know, but before that happens. But yeah, so this is a mini-series. Debuts May the 29th. You'll be able to watch it on Beacon, Twitch, and YouTube, and with episodes airing every Thursday.
Very good.
Sounds interesting. If you want to find out what this is, a lethal, forbidding land, souls of the dead, cursed to return as twisted nightmares. A dark, ethereal mass known as the Umbra roams and holds these fiendish monstrosities, further corrupting anything it touches.
I mean, it just says Age of Shadow, so yeah. Okay.
Well, the Umbra in this case is a specific shadow. It's the Umbra, not an Umbra, you see.
Or an umbrella. That would be something different.
It's not an umbrella.
No, Age of Umbrella. That's a different game with different.
That is a different thing entirely. Yeah,
no.
That is totally different.
No.
Yeah. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we have got coming up from Dimension 20. I am going to see if I can play a little trailer for you.
Mm-hmm. Russ, you're really busting out the videos today.
Well, let's give it a try.
Radio comes on. You hear your grandmother's voice. If you can hear this, well, that's right. It's real. Suit, it's real. A world of machine wonder.
Oh my God! A world of high-flying stunts and wild adventure.
I can take my revenge. And I just smash the glass.
I bring you now
To a brand new, never before seen world.
My arm's covered in blood.
What the fuck is going on?
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah! It's Cloudward Ho! Say hi, intrepid heroes.
Hi, intrepid heroes.
Or should I say sky intrepid heroes?
This is a wild one.
Wow.
Hello, my name is Van Chapman. I come from an old sailing family and you can smell it in my breath.
Maxwell, clearly some type of athlete. I think you're being a rowdy. How dare you? Don't call me rowdy!
Maria Yankova! I am gaunt with starvation, not of the body, but of the soul.
I see an old man drinking a little flask of whiskey.
Oh, the way my heart just jumped out of my pants.
Alethra McLeod is extremely into the adventuring legacy of her family.
Big, broad shoulders, big chest. My shotgun and pack or a coat check. Let's go.
Yeah. Easy, girl.
I take out my blunderbuss and shoot it.
Holy moly! Looks like we're gonna have to wing this one.
Oh my God, I got a 4.
Fear not, your death will not have been in vain.
No crime in the sky, no bloody crime in the sky, all right?
If we're ever alone, I'm gonna kill you.
That's Yes, yes.
Fun.
Here we go. So, Cloudward Ho from Dimension 20. This is a brand new live stream coming very soon.
I like Dimension 20's games. They're fun. It does feel like a group of friends playing a game together.
Yeah.
But it's entertaining to watch in the same way. So it's somewhat like a hyped up version of what that's like. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we got
Those are my thoughts.
Sky pirates, treasure maps, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, looks fun. Like it.
Definitely leaning for that steampunk aesthetic with a touch of Bioshock, I would say as well.
Yeah, that's a good. I like those references. That makes sense. Yeah, it looks fun. I've been meaning to watch some Dimension 20 actual plays for a while. I haven't got into it, but I think I will at some point, especially the Dungeons and Drag Queens series, because those I keep seeing clips of those and looks great. Yeah.
Right. So, do you like dice?
Wait, look, we all just got our dice collections out.
Come on, Russ. Pay attention.
So does this mean that you're pro or anti dice replacements?
I'm open to changing my opinion when I have new information.
Okay. So, Mike Tresca wrote an article on EN World this week talking about a few different dice alternatives.
Okay.
Oh.
Hit me with them.
I thought, let's have a look at them.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. Well, this is the first one. This is called a dice tower spinner. It's like a spinning tower that's got all your 6 standard dice in one place.
Yeah.
It looks like a puzzle toy, like, you know, when you have to line them all up and it opens into something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is made of metal and it's quite heavy. It looks like it is.
How does it work?
It reminds me a little bit of those combination locks.
Yeah.
Like you got a number alongside, so you got like a cylinder with the various different die size. And the way it works is you give it a spin, and it's got like a little marker, and whatever number ends up opposite that marker is the result you have quote rolled unquote.
Oh, like spinning the big wheel on Wheel of Fortune, but small and portable.
Yeah. And then you got 1, 2, 3. You got 6 different wheels, and I guess you just go spin the one you want. I guess, do you, or do you spin them all at the same time? I don't know.
I think you'd have to spin them one at a time. So
yeah,
goodness help you if you've got to make a roll advantage, because I'm only seeing 1d20 on there.
Yeah,
I guess you do it twice.
Or say you have to say you're casting a fireball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're
6 or 8 d6.
Yeah.
Depends on which rule.
That could be
Depending on which rule set you're using. Yeah.
Okay. That's an option.
Alternative. We also have dice pencils.
Oh. Sorry, I was
so
confused by the regular dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. They sort of have these like they've got a D6 on there. They're all D6s, I think. But they also have these little phrases as well. And the phrases I've got a list. Well, you can see. Can you see them? Yeah, you can see them.
Yeah. Classic GM.
Choose your weapon, just keep rolling and stuff.
You can certainly try. How do you want to do this? Don't worry, I have a plan. Yeah. Well, I mean, that last one's definitely a player thing.
But if you keep dropping your pencil, will it not shatter the lead inside? And then when you go to sharpen your pencil, cause issues?
Yes.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer about the whole thing.
And it's also only D6s.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a fun little extra. They're clearly making some D&D named pencils, and they had the option to make it a D6, and we're like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if they had one which says "Do not meddle in the affairs of dragons," I'd be all over that. No perspiration, chummer. I'd be reaching for my wallet even as we speak, but alas, no.
Alas, alas.
Right. How about these ones? These are Cthulhu-themed dice spinners. So you get a set of 2 spinners. The smaller one has a D4, D6, and D8 in it, and the larger one has the D10, D12, and D20. There's various Cthulhu-esque iconography all over them.
I will say the heart of H.P. Lovecraft's work was about what happens when we, in our little candlelit world of society, encounter things that are just too horrible to look at. I feel they're really capturing the ethos of this.
Okay.
Okay. They're not to my aesthetic. They're black and white, which is not a terrible choice. It looks like one of them has an elder sign on that 5-pointed sort of pentagram with some extra bits in. The larger of the 2 has letters, I guess, and a
so the larger one has
pointer.
Right. So the larger one has the letters GNYFIIUDA. Basically, doesn't say anything as far as I can make out. The smaller one has Confunglui Muglawa Naf Cthulhu
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
In his house at Rylair, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. Apparently, that says.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. Okay. So that is something. Yeah. I mean, you probably would have difficulty throwing these off the table. So they've got that going for them.
Yeah.
Difficult, but not possible.
Right, I'm sure I could throw them off the table if I tried.
Yeah.
I mean, given a sufficiently motivated player or a player with dog, Russ, then that's very possible. But yeah, I mean, if you've got someone who's like just constantly throwing their dice off the table, then maybe these
or get them a dice box.
Dice tray.
A dice tray, even. Yeah.
Tray instead of box. Yeah. A tray, if you will.
Or just ask them not to throw their dice off the table. I mean, I manage to throw dice, start throwing them off the table all the time. It's really easy.
All right, some of us aren't good at sport thrusts, you know.
Ooh, hark at Mr. Black Belt. Yeah, I can throw my dice on the table reliably.
Ooh, not all of us put all our skills in decks, you know.
These are the last ones. These are basically, they're coasters, so you can also put your drinks on them, but they've got like D20s round the edge, and you can spin the coaster to roll a D20.
But the coasters,
how do you know?
Presumably, you take your drink off of them beforehand.
How do you know where it's landed? I'm confused. If
Um,
you spin a coaster, it'll land flat, surely, and then it's just flat with the circle.
Yeah, I think you decide which way. If that, like, pointing directly ahead is the one you do, I guess.
I mean,
okay.
If you're gonna spin it, then maybe it's like it's got the edge will move, but again, it's like wood on wood.
It doesn't move separately. No, I think you just decide the one that pointed directly at you is the one that is.
Oh, that's open to interpretation. No, it's definitely on the 20.
Yeah,
it's definitely a crit.
Yeah.
I think that would cause more arguments than a cock die. So
out of those four different things, which one appeals most?
Like in terms of biomechanics and usability, the Eldritch Horrors of the Cthulhu dice spinners are probably the ones that I would go for.
Yeah,
like
if I mean,
if I could get past how they look, then like yeah, sure, that's probably the thing I'd find most useful. Takes up the least space, probably the easiest to use because I can see like my second choice would be the one we looked at initially, which was the like little
that one,
the tower. The Tower of Power dice spinner. It's just I think that for me and my giant thumbs, I would not have a good time with that.
I think if I had to buy one, I would pick the pencils, the second one, because I could use them as pencils and it's a fun little quirk. If you said to me, Jess, you have to pick one of these to replace your dice completely, I would pick the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't want to replace my dice. I have a nice bag.
Well, if anyone does, I'll put a link in the show notes. And there'll be links where you can buy all of these items, should you wish to. And for me, I'd agree that the Dice Tower is the only one that really appeals, and only because it's gimmicky. I can't.
I'll throw this in. Depending upon the weight of this spinning tower, it could act in a similar fashion to like a roll of quarters, or if you decide to move away from the table into the streets and. No, Russ is shaking his head.
Bludgeoning
not
damage,
advocating violence.
No,
increase the power of your punches.
Yeah, let's not do that, Lloyd.
Sounds like a great way to get a handful of plastic shrapnel, to be honest.
It seems like a bad thing to do.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
But it's interesting to see different alternatives for rolling dice. Anyway.
Okay.
The Romans had D6s. They like to roll dice. And someone showed me a dice tower the other day online, so that was very exciting for me.
And there's those Roman D20s that show up every few months.
Yeah, those are.
And everyone goes, "Ooh, like it's the first time anyone's ever seen one," even though they've shown up every few months, like the last 30 years.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be due for knitting gloves and so forth, but then textile experts chip in and say no because the technology wasn't advanced enough to do knitting. So what they are for exactly is, as far as I know, still unknown.
Dun dun dun.
Right. Couple of Kickstarters.
Let's go.
Couple of Kickstarters. Here's the first one. It's fun. So basically, treasure chests and things. So when your party encounters a treasure chest or treasure hidden in some way, this is a whole bunch of different sort of strong boxes, chests, things like that. Challenged from 1st to 20th level characters all the way up, all different ones, different tiers and stuff. And there's all sorts of different ones in there. And they're all basically little puzzles or different ways of, that you have to get into the treasure. So here's an example, one of them, the Sacred Strongbox. I don't know if you can read that, it's quite small.
No. I can
No,
really
but I
set the
get-
strong box. The rest of it's quite small. Oh,
I get the
Yeah.
vibe though.
Yeah. So basically, what we have here, we've got some a little section on investigation. So things that you can see in the writing, the weight of it, the sound, if you should tap it, what detect magic shows, how it feels, what moves, and things like that.
Hmm.
And then we've got various ways of opening the thing. So you can solve it by reading the inscription to reveal the cryptic code or whatever. You can bypass the lock with these tools or something. And it's got a section on traps, which traps are in it, and how to disarm or suppress the trap, and different traps for different levels, depending how nasty you want it to be.
For those at home, what we're looking at has the illustration for it is not dissimilar to the dice tower in
Indeed.
that it is a cylinder and it has what I would assume are movable bands, which would have different, it looks like little sigils, symbols, which presumably you would line up to unlock the thing.
Yeah, it's a combination lock, basically, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, but that does raise questions in my mind about how big it can be. So it's like more of a sacred scroll case, I would have said.
This one is described a gold-plated cylinder, 2 feet long and 10 inches in diameter.
2 feet long, 10 inches. Okay. So bulky and heavy, but yeah, you could move it and
keep your gems and your jewelry in there. I like this concept because it's fun for gameplay. Like it makes it a bit more interesting instead of saying the rogue, send him in, do a lockpick, check or something. But also it makes sense thematically because if I was trying to keep, sticky fingered adventurers away from my stuff, I would want to put it in something difficult. So I like this. This works mechanically and thematically.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good concept.
Yeah.
I hope they do well.
Okay. Well, the next thing we got is OSRIC. OSRIC 3, OSRIC 3rd edition. So OSRIC was launched in 2006. And it was like the first big retro clone. It kind of was like, it's very, very early in the OSR.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the first one, but if it's not, it's right there at the beginning. It's a clone of first edition AD&D. This is the 3rd edition of it, and they've rewritten and reorganized it again. This is by Mythmere Games. It's doing very well on Kickstarter. It's got about $150,000 so far, with nearly 3 weeks yet to go. So it's doing very well. Yeah, so OSRIC stands for Old School Reference and Index Compilation.
Cool.
And I remember picking up a copy at Gen Con in 2006.
There we go.
Back when I used to go to Gen Con.
That looks cool. I mean, if you're looking for this sort of thing, you want that old school vibe. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So
How did it play, Russ?
Yeah, sorry?
How did it play?
I haven't played it, but I assume it plays exactly like AD&D first edition. So.
Yeah, he's only had it 20 years.
It'd be a
calm
clone.
down.
It being
How's
a
it going
clone
to
of
make it way to the
AD&D.
top?
It being a clone of AD&D first edition, I assume it plays just like that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You get a player guide, you get a GM guide, you get 3 adventures, you get a GM screen, you get VTT resources.
Oh, wow.
You get a whole bunch of stuff there. A whole bunch of stuff. It does look pretty cool.
Nice, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, let's look at the original, actually. Here's the, that's the original one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Back in 2000 and whatever.
I can see the artwork is sympathetic to that style and does harken back to it. Like, also, it's obviously it is different, but it feels in that same genre.
Oh, yeah. OSRIC first edition had a picture of a dragon over a ruin with some people looking at it. It wasn't hugely distinct. OSRIC first edition, you've got looks like a black box with Dungeons and Dragons style slash up in the left corner. There is is that a red dragon breathing fire?
Yeah, red dragon breathing fire at a couple of people in the background, and in the foreground there's like a party of adventurers kind of overlooking the scene, I guess, or approaching the scene.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that first edition you'd have like a lot more people. So there's like, I don't know, 10 tunes on that page. Including like little half one.
8.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I see 10.
9, 10.
Oh, okay.
I was
I see
guessing
11 actually. There's one climbing the pillar. I keep finding more. What a
yeah,
fun
there we
game.
go.
What a fun game
Yeah.
this is.
There you go. Count tunes, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. But the artwork is very
It's old
of
school
that
artwork,
time.
Yeah. But I think that's what you want. If you're going for an old school nostalgia product, I would want the artwork to lean into that because I'm getting this for that reason. I know what I'm getting. I know what I want. That's what
You wouldn't get an old car and then do it all out in plastic. So you wouldn't have shiny, well-drawn pictures. You want that sort of like vaguely amateur style to it. Yeah.
All right. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I remembered.
So this
Last year's
was
Gen Con.
This is what was it a year ago? Yeah, was it last year's Gen Con?
Yeah.
2023, actually. No, 2 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay. Fair.
Yeah. So a pair of thieves stole about 300 grand's worth of trading card game stuff, Magic the Gathering stuff, from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
At Gen Con.
Whilst in branded company T-shirts.
Yeah, they just walked out with it while wearing very clearly branded company T-shirts, and there we go. That's them just walking out with them on a trolley, just very clearly.
They did wear sunglasses though to disguise themselves, but I think that disguised self was like a not a natural 20.
If they hadn't been wearing the branded T-shirts, maybe they might still got away with it. Yeah,
I think possibly.
Yeah.
Well, they got identified very quickly.
Yes.
They've gone to court and stuff. One of the two has been sentenced. The other one hasn't.
Wow. Okay.
The sentence involves paying a hefty sum to Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
$27,000.
Okay.
Plus presumably returning the $300,000 worth of cards.
I sort of assumes that they've got those back.
Yeah. And writing a heartfelt letter of apology to the Gen Con community.
I love it when judges make people do stuff like this. It feels like gentle parenting. Like, now you need to say sorry for what you did. I love that.
Yeah. There's also a community service, 40 hours of community service as well.
Yeah, I assume there's other legal relevant things, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I assume the other one will probably get a similar sentence since they basically did the same thing together.
One would hope.
I would imagine so. But yeah. So that happened. Yeah.
Right. It's nice to catch up on these old news stories because it was quite a shocker at the time when people were like running off with 300,000 because those trade halls are before the conventions. They are very busy places. There's a lot of going on. There's people shouting at you for not wearing high vis. There's like
managers trying to de-escalate situations.
There are, if you're a geek like me, boxes of treasure literally everywhere. And you just want to, so much treasure, so many books. Woo.
Yeah,
it's very exciting, and there's nothing quite like it. So
I can imagine it would be so easy to do.
Oh yeah. Just walking off with it because there are people literally carrying cardboard boxes everywhere.
Yeah,
and like putting them on like pallet trucks going here, there, everywhere. It's like
I suppose it depends on the size of your app. Because if it was us, if we were setting up our stand and someone just came along with a pallet truck and tried to load a bunch of books of our products and walk off, we'd be like, no, stop right now, because there's only like a tiny handful of us. So we'd be like,
we only have one pallet's worth of stuff with us.
If you're like Wizards of the Coast, you probably like have a couple hundred people there in total. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, a team of 20 people at your stand.
And someone comes up with their high vis jacket and just loads the stuff onto a pallet truck and
not to teach people how to steal, but a lot of warehouse companies do warehousing for lots of brands, and they come in the morning and put the games for everybody on their stands for them to come and collect. So there's probably a few hours in the morning where people that are there to set up their stand aren't there, but all the books that have been delivered are. So it's like the convention equivalent of getting a parcel and leaving it outside your front door.
Yeah,
And that's how you steal from a convention.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jessica.
Don't wear a branded company T-shirt when you do it, though.
Now Jessica's going to be co-named as a conspirator, and
yeah.
Jessica told me how to do it.
Anyway, what else have we got in the news?
What else have we got in the news? Okay, so we've got a couple of our bits to cover, a couple of bits to finish off with, but Peter, before then, you have put on the running order something about Foundry Creator talking about AI.
Oh yeah, there's an article from PCGamer.com. The person who created Foundry, the virtual tabletop, has come out very firmly against using AI to make RPGs. Whereas Chris Cox has said that the 30 people he plays D&D with are all completely for using AI, which is a statement that has long baffled
Chris Cox being the CEO of Hasbro, by the way.
And formerly
former president of Wizards of the Coast.
Indeed. While he's come out saying that and so forth, instead, just trying to find the chap's name here. Clayton.
What? Andrew Clayton. Is that who you're doing, right?
Yes, guy called Clayton.
Founder of Foundry.
Yeah, it's the founder of Foundry, which is this virtual tabletop. Foundry does allow AI created stuff on it, but Clayton is extremely hardline and is like, no, we're just not going to. We are not going to use or implement AI in Foundry, but they're not stopping people from using AI in Foundry, if that makes sense.
Does he say why?
Why
they're not stopping
very
people?
much?
No, the other thing, why they're not stopping people?
Maybe it's the how do you police it situation. The resources to do that would be.
Well, according to Clayton, he says that the key difference is whilst and it's obviously a bit rude or possibly compliment. It depends. It's not really been very significant. Is players will go online, will get an image from anywhere. I mean, to be fair, to my shame, I have done this myself. I get an image from anywhere and use it, and use that as a picture for their avatar in a home game. It's not seen by anyone else, and it's just it's basically using somebody else's work, but in a very small setting. So it's it's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Whereas for him, people using AI are supporting tools that are actively making money off scraping the internet, using actual real human work without consent, and often charging for it as well. And to him, that's a bridge too far, apparently.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a couple of Kickstarters from EN Publishing to mention.
I know. Seems very exciting.
Yes. So this one launched on Tuesday. This is Into the Woods, a new species, eerie monsters, and haunted villains. New softcover book, compatible with D&D 14 and 24.
Yeah. I like the little cute dryady / elf plant person that you have on the front.
You wait till you see us at UK Games Expo then, because we've got a standee that you can put your face through and have pictures taken.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing. So you two could be super cute, if slightly green. Oh no, that looks amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously using drive-through RPG, I think, to distribute. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. There'll be no tariffs, because if you're in the US, it gets printed in the US. If you're outside the US, it gets printed outside the US. So You don't have to worry about tariffs at all.
No.
This includes the new nymph character species with the earth nymph, forest nymph, and water nymph varieties. It's got new feats. It's got a whole bunch of new monsters and a new villain called Clissa the Spirit Fae.
Yep.
So this is on Kickstarter now. We'll put a link in the show notes. You can go and pick it up right now. Please do. It's our last Quickstarter until what's the next slightly bigger thing we're doing?
Yes.
Yeah. Because also coming up, we have got Pets and Sidekicks.
Ooh.
Previously called the Companions Compendium, now called Pets and Sidekicks. And this is a guide to, well, what it says on the tin, really. Pets and companions in your D&D games, your level up A5E games.
Indeed.
Yeah. So it's got dozens, well, more than dozens, many sample pets and sidekicks you can have. They can level up with you. So you don't just get your pet at first level and then by the time you're 5th level it's useless. It levels up with you. There are rules for customizing them and giving them different tricks and abilities and features. There's a whole bunch of player options, archetypes for all the different classes, feats, all sorts of things, special magical items, all related to having pets, sidekicks, and these are also for enemies as well, or foes. So you could have a recurring foe that levels up with you as well.
Yeah.
So say you raid a kobold camp in 1st level, and then at 3rd level, one of them comes back for revenge, and then at 6th level does so again and is leveling up with you. Which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So this is an image of a character with a Pegasus sidekick companion. This is some of the fun little cards that Francita has been making, which we'll be putting out on social media. Little adopt me cards for different types of pets and sidekicks that you can get. So we've got Sam there, who's a skeleton, an easygoing skeleton that loves playing fetch and bashing skulls with his mace.
Adorable.
Reginald, a loyal dog who likes belly rubs and keeping watch at night to protect the party.
Oh, little bloodhound there. Very cute.
And we've got Dorothy, a happy-go-lucky baby unicorn that loves to get her hair brushed and get sugar cubes as treats.
Absolutely.
A variety of companions and pets.
They're not all
as you
cute,
can see
by the way.
there.
We have got some fierce and horrible ones as well. Don't worry.
Well, one was a skeleton there that likes
One
to
was a
bash
skeleton,
people
yeah.
with their mace.
True.
Like, I don't...
Yeah, true.
I
But
mean,
we kept
cute
the
is in
cute
the eye of the
branding.
beholder. Yeah, I will say.
Yeah.
He's smiling.
Yeah. Michael Shannon says, will this all be usable with Void Run as well? It's the same game system, so yes. Thematically, it's all kind of fantasy-esque, but there's no reason you can't have a skeleton or a dog in Void Runners. In fact, why wouldn't you have a dog in Void Runners? You should have a dog in every game you play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, the rules will work with Void Runners.
There is a dog in Baldur's Gate 3, Russ, and we didn't get quite enough time to play to get to that, but we were close to it.
Oh well.
So close.
Oh well. Such is life.
Just
Anyway,
saying.
I think we're pretty much at the end. This is it. End of the show.
Yes.
So don't forget that on Friday the May 30th, we will be at UK Games Expo recording the show live in the Dice Room at 2 p.m. Please come and join us if you're there.
Yes.
Bring a sandwich if you like. You can sit there and have your lunch. You don't even have to face us. You don't even have to acknowledge us. Just be in the same room so we can count you as an audience member. That'll be fine.
Yes.
Okay, but don't throw things at Russ. He finds that very threatening.
Yes.
Depends what you throw.
Pencils.
Don't throw pencils at me. No.
Dice.
You can throw £10 notes at me. You might have to turn them into paper aeroplanes first.
Yeah, maybe.
You're welcome to do that.
Also,
not £5 notes, so it's just not worth it for £5 notes, but £10 notes, yeah.
Also, the
I will
UK Games
accept
Expo, I am running a game of Level Up, and I still have 2 seats available. And that's on the Saturday evening. So the link to book onto that if you'd like to come and play Level Up with me.
Expo URL always looks like it says UK Game Sexpo to me.
Well, that's something to speak to your
That's
therapist about. That's something for you to chat about in
Just one of
therapy,
those
Russ.
Unfortunate URLs.
Certainly, if you look for Deviant Art or any Museum of Art website, then you will find a way to definitely read those in a different fashion from what they intended.
Yeah.
Such the problem of lack of capitalization. Anyway.
Right. I think we're done.
Should we leave on that note?
Yeah. It's a lovely, lovely sunny day. We've got a weekend.
Yes.
I'm apparently going to be at a Eurovision party tomorrow night. Joy.
Oh. Ooh, okay. Well, fair enough.
Well, when I say at it, it's going to be at me. Sharon's hosting one. And I unfortunately live there.
I see.
So,
yes.
Oh, well.
Indeed.
And they're going to be dressing up in frocks and waving little flags around. And
frock. Oh, what a retro term. I haven't heard the word frock for a
drinking
while.
Cocktails and they've got cupcakes with all the different country flags on them and things.
Frock.
What fun.
All right. We'll leave you to frolic with your frock this weekend.
I will not be wearing a frock, just to clarify. Sorry to disappoint. I will not be wearing a frock.
That's your choice.
It is my choice. That is my choice.
Okay, goodbye. Let's go.
Right, on that note,
bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG.